Hello, DTM Vinod Panikar. Welcome. Very good evening.
Good evening, Toastmaster Khalijan and everyone.
Good evening, DTM Vinod.
Looking
should be
forward for
starting.
the session by Hashim, DTM Hashim.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for joining.
Hi, Vinod. Good evening.
Hashim.
You're all okay, DTM Hashim? Sound
Good.
check and all is good to go. Huh? Maybe
All
we'll
good,
just
all
start
good.
in 2 minutes.
Just enable my screen sharing, please.
Sure. Could you check? Are you able to share, DTM Hashim?
Shall we start collision?
Yes, let's start.
Right.
Yes.
Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. Welcome to the Masterclass on International Speech organized by Area 19. Let me begin with asking a question. If you know the answer, post it in the chat box. What is the most popular drink in the world besides water? What is the second most popular drink in the world? If you know the answer, just post it in the chat box. Anyone? Yes, yeah, it is tea. So, but why I'm talking about tea today? Today is International Day of Tea. So I guess everybody had a very good, nice cup of tea and looking forward to enjoy the master class which is being organized today. Okay, let's proceed. A brief about Toastmasters. It's a non-profit educational organization founded by Dr. Ross C. Smedley in Santana, California in the year 1924. It's a 99 years old organization helping members to achieve their communication and leadership skills. The club mission, we provide a supportive and learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skill, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. The core values of Toastmasters: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Few ground rules which needs to be followed throughout the meeting. As it is sensitive to this part of the world, taboo topics of sex, religion, and politics needs to be avoided. Please put your mobile phone in silent mode. Please ensure to keep your audio and video muted unless you are presenting. Please applaud and encourage the speakers and presenters before and after their presentation using the virtual emoticons. Now it is time for me to hand over this virtual stage to our area director. I came in contact with this person only a few months ago, and I must say I found a great friend, guide, mentor, and well-wisher. He carries enormous knowledge, wisdom, and energy, but never misses the smile on his face and humility in his approach. A great ambassador of Toastmasters movement, Please put your hands together to welcome Dynamic Area Director of Area 9 Toastmasters Collision. Over to you, AD.
Thank you so much, Assistant Area Director, Program Quality, Toastmaster Yatish. Such a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much for that. Yes, indeed, it has a special day for us, having the contest season start off already within all our clubs. And Division C decided that we should be conducting master classes in each segment so that each and everyone, not only from our club, our area, our division, everyone from our district and beyond is able to understand what are the key points we should be looking into when we are contesting. So we decided, yes, each area from Division C will conduct a segment. And it was Toastmaster Yatish who took the initiative to find out who we could approach and who best, none other than DTM Hashim Haleem for today's segment. We are so privileged to have such a passionate speaker amongst us. I have known him for the last 7 years from the time I started my Toastmasters journey in SPJ in Toastmasters Club. He's always been there, just a call away, very says, and I am myself very, very overjoyed to say that I am his, and I consider him as a mentor also. In many circumstances, I have approached him when I had my queries to be cleared. And I'm so fortunate that we today have a professional speaker who covers a wide range of topics, including personality development, leadership, communication, goal setting, anything. And of course, he is also known to be a tech guru. So I would not be taking more time. I would like to also acknowledge the presence of the presidents of our clubs, Toastmaster Zainab, Toastmaster Pari, and Toastmaster Srijesh from Area 9 amongst us. Thank you so much for joining in. And DTM Vinod Panikar also. Thank you so much for your presence over here. It is our privilege to have you amongst us. So without further ado, I would like to invite on stage DTM Hashim Haleem. Over to you, DTM Hashim.
Thank you, AD Khalijan. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this session on the international speech. Our Sergeant at Arms today started out by saying that today is the International Day of Tea. Well, my aim is to make your international speech a cup of tea. That's what we aim to do today. I'll go through my learnings from competing in the international speech for many years and what I actually think the speech should be all about. Let's have a very quick show of hands. Who is going to be taking part in the international speech contest this year? You can raise your virtual hands and just let me know. Yeah, we've got a couple of hands going up. Yeah, we've got some real hands and some virtual hands going up. Yeah, but some claps. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So I hope that after this session, we'll have a lot more hands going up. And when you all compete in the international speech contest, my belief is that we all benefit from it because we get to hear your story. We get to hear your motivational message. We get to hear about your life's strong points. And I think we all have a story to tell. And the international speech contest is an absolute great platform to tell that story. All right. So as is usually customary in Toastmasters, few slides to share with you. And so allow me to go to those slides. All right. Can you all see my screen? Anybody just unmute and let me know if you can see my screen.
It's a white screen. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Fine. Yeah, it is a blank screen. No, I wasn't too lazy to prepare slides. This is exactly where I want you to start from, right? You have your previous notions on what the international speech is about. Great. You have your learnings from Toastmasters. All of these are going to come to help you, but I want you to start from a blank slate, right? We're going to see what we're going to put into this cup of tea that we're making. And we're going to go one by one to see how we can make this the best cup of tea for yourself and for everyone who's going to hear that. All right, so let's start with the beginning. One of the most difficult things that I've always experienced about writing a speech, be it an international speech or be it your level 1 projects, it was always choosing a topic, what to speak about. And I always wished that I had like a secret formula which would tell me, okay, Hashim, speak about this. That would be much easier. But when you leave, okay, you can speak about whatever you want to speak about. My goodness, that's very difficult. Here's something that you can use that should help you figure out what to speak about. I use these 3 concentric circles. The first one, as you can see on the left here, is topics you know. Now, these are subjects that you're familiar with, that you have some knowledge about, maybe from your profession, maybe something you've read, something you're aware of. We have DTM Vinod Panikar here, who's read 250 books. So this circle for him is like a globe itself. Yeah. On the right, you have this green one here, which is topics you love, something that you're passionate about. You love, playing the guitar, or you love traveling, or you love fast cars, you love cooking, you love many things. Topics you love. Let's take my case now. I'm like Rady Khalijan had said, I'm pretty much a techpreneur. So I love speaking about, I know about many things related to IT, say artificial intelligence or machine learning. I love these topics as well, latest technology. So let me give a 7-minute speech about the latest machine learning algorithm. That would be fun, wouldn't it? I don't think so. Yeah, I'd have to pay the sergeant at arms extra to keep the audience in the hall. In addition to topics you know and topics you love, that's the circle at the bottom here. That is topics your audience could care about. So you want to pick something that will connect with your audience as well. Not everyone may want to hear about, how your bank was reducing the interest rates, or how investing the share market was, a very scientific theory behind it. Not everyone may be interested. Some people will, some people may not. So let's pick something that is safe. So topics you know, topics you love, topics your audience care about, something that ticks all these 3 boxes, that's where your ideal topic would lie. So how do we use this to your advantage? List down your ideas for your speech topic. Maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 10, it doesn't matter. List them all down and then tick against them. Topics you know, something you know about, topics you love, something you're passionate about that you can speak with passion about, and you think your audience will care about it. Where you get 3 ticks, that's where your ideal topic would lie. All right. So now we figured out what we're going to speak about. Okay. When you take that first sip from the cup of tea, you decide whether you want to have that tea or not. It's got to leave that taste in you, right? You won't, even once you're done with that tea, you're going to remember that tingling sensation, or that sudden taste that burst into your taste buds when you had that cup of tea. And that's what's going to make you remember that tea or go back to that tea again. When it comes to speeches, that sensation, that thing that the audience leaves with, that's your message. Now, if we cut down all the things that we know about communication, in the end, communication is getting message from point A to point B. That's what communication is, right? You do it through email, you do it through the internet, you do it through post, you do it through fax, your phone, whatever it may be. In the end, it's getting a message from point A to point B. That's what your speech is doing as well. You're conveying your message to your audience. So your message is what the audience leaves with. Now, if they're going to listen to you, well, it has to connect with them, right? It's got to be universal in nature. It can't be limited to, say, a certain section of people, say. It's all IT, or it's all related to medicine, this wouldn't really connect with everybody. You want to bring something that the audience can understand and care about, right? If you listen to motivational speakers, it connects with everybody, what they're talking about, right? If you go to a seminar on a particular topic, maybe not everyone cares about that topic, right? So in your international speech, you want to pick something that will definitely connect with the audience, that is universal in nature, and it influences or changes the way the audience thinks. It doesn't have to be something new. If you look at the World Championship speeches of the last many years, you'll see that the topics are similar in nature. I mean, they're not very different. There's nothing that you're going to invent that has never ever been said before, right? Unless you're maybe a monk or a sage or something of that sort. However, even if you pick old wine, you're going to put it into a new bottle and you're going to influence the way that people think about it because you're telling your version of it. That's what's going to make it unique and different. Secret ingredient for all messages. When you write your message for your speech, make sure that it gives hope of some sort. Hope is the secret, right? How do we write a message that gives hope? Say, for example, you want to write about honesty is the best policy, something that everybody has heard about. Honesty is the best policy. This is your core. Now, it's not really a message. Honesty is the best policy is an idiom that we've all heard. How do we make it attractive to the audience? Yeah. If you stay true to your goal, you can achieve anything. If you take pride in what you're doing, you can achieve anything. If you always speak the truth, you will be loved by more people. This is the way you take a simple concept as honesty is the best policy and convert it to the way as if it is giving hope to your audience. In the end, the audience has to leave with some value, right? They've got to learn that, they've got to feel that if they apply what you've said, they're going to get better in some form or the other. Things are going to improve for them in some form or the other. So work hope into your message. That's what's going to set your international speech apart this year. All right. Quick question to the audience. All right. And I want you to put it in the chat. What is one thing that you think biryanis and cakes have in common? Biryanis and cakes, what do they have in common? If you have any ideas, put it into the chat. Let me see, or we can have, yeah, toppings. Yes, toppings, taste, variety. You like to eat both, good taste, absolutely. Biryani and coke both need patience and love them, make them turn out well. Calories, loads of fats. Absolutely, absolutely. So I've heard some really good answers, but I'm going to give a shout out here to Madhumita and Prabhat. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. As good as they all are, they both make you fat. Yeah, that's what you want your audience to feel as well. You want to make your audience feel fat after listening to your speech. Because even if they do make you feel fat, right, you still keep coming back biryanis and cakes. In a speech, the fat is a little different. What do you want your audience to feel? What action do you want them to take? What do you want them to think after listening to your speech? You've got to answer these questions way before you decide what to write, because these are the things that's going to decide what you're going to put into your speech. Say you were giving a speech about your grandmother, how you miss your grandma, or maybe she's not there anymore and you feel bad that you're not able to spend enough time with her. Common theme, you've all heard this before. All right. What do you want your audience to feel? You want your audience to feel that they miss someone, that they love someone, or they wish they had spent more time with someone. That's the emotion you want them to feel. What action do you want them to take? You want them to keep in touch with their loved ones. Call them up right now, or remember them, try to spend time with them. Or decide that From now onwards, I should spend more time with my loved ones. You want them to think the best use of my time or the limited time that I have is spent with my loved ones. This is the thought that you want in their head. If you want your audience to feel these emotions, you want them to take these actions, and you want them to think these thoughts, then the content you put needs to be structured around this objective. If when we were doing our competent communicator manual, or even when you have the second project now in level 1, which is speech with a purpose, it asks you to direct your speech towards one specific purpose. For your international speech, I ask you to direct your stories, your message, the quotes that you put, the scenes that you portray towards this one purpose. What you want them to feel, what action do you want them to take, what thought do you want to put in their head. And once you have this cleared, you know exactly what should not be in your speech and what should be. Yeah. So think about making your audience fat, just like a good biryani or a good cake. All right, let's go back to my slides. All right. Here we are. Feel, act, and think. Make them fat, absolutely. All right. So from time immemorial, the way that your message has been conveyed to the audience is by telling a story. Because face it, everybody loves a story. You remember back when we were kids, your grandparents used to tell you these stories, your parents, your grandparents, all used to tell you these stories of kings and queens and, great heroes, things that happened of the past. Many of these stories were not true, of course, they were fantasy. But there was a specific purpose to those stories, right? It was to put the moral into the child's head, into the child's thoughts. That's what it was for. Right? That's exactly what's going to happen when you tell your story. They're listening to your story, but they're getting your point. Right? So tell a story, make a point. Nothing that stood out for many stories were big characters that were there, right? You had kings, you had queens, you had warriors, you had giants, you had great, great people. And those characters stick in our head, even after all these years. Find out who's the hero of your speech. Who were the people who made a difference in your life? And project them. Put them up on the big stage. See, you remember those people. However, your audience has not seen them. Help them visualize it, characterize them, give them a, give them a dialogue, give them a voice, describe what they look like. He was an old man with a big white beard and a big tummy. He looked like Papa Smurf. Yeah. So bring those characters to life, position them on stage at one side, give them some dialogue. The third point that I want to talk to you about is be similar, not superior. Now, what this means is, do you all remember that, that smart kid in class who always sat at the front bench and he would raise his hand whenever the teacher asked a question, and before the teacher finished the question, he'd tell the answer, 102 out of 100 in every test. Yeah, you remember that kid? Maybe some of you were that kid. Nobody liked that kid. Everyone hated that fella. Yeah. Even the girls used to go out with the guy sitting at the back bench, not with that fella. Be similar. When you give your speech, don't talk about all the achievements that you have. If you start a speech by saying, yeah, I was a gold medalist at university, I was offered by Google and Microsoft and all other big companies, I won the Nobel Prize for, humor, or whatever it is. Yeah. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Talk about your challenges and how you overcame those. That connects with people. Be similar, not superior. Reach your audience. Don't preach at your audience. If people wanted to get preached at, they would have gone to, the mosque or church or temple or somewhere. They wouldn't come to a Toastmasters meeting. They want to be reached, right? So you reach at your audience, don't preach. So be similar, not superior. All right. We've all done stories before. What I want to offer you today, Madhumita and Emna, what I want to offer you today is a model of writing a story. Simple model that you can apply. which covers pretty much all that you need in a story, whether that story is 3 sentences long, 3 minutes long, or 5 minutes long. It's called the 5C storytelling model. So let's take a look what those 5 C's are. Every story has some curiosity created. Stories that used to start with once upon a time in a land far, far away, there lived a da-da-da. That was bringing you into the meat of the story, right? It was giving you enough information to take you there and get you started. So have some sentence or a few words in your story that bring your audience into that story. Build that curiosity, right? Let me tell you a story about what happened in September 1947. Yeah, August 1947. Curiosity, right? We already covered every story needs to have good characters. At some point in time, there has to be a conflict or a challenge. If there's no challenge, there's no story. Let me tell you a short story. I'm sure you are going to absolutely love this. Yeah. Ashik, this is Ashik and Vilma. This is especially for you guys. There was a beautiful house by a nice river with a big green meadow with flowers and trees everywhere. And there lived a man and a woman. And they had 2 children and a dog. And it was a sunny, bright day. The end. How was that story? That was the most story I've ever heard in my life. There has to be a conflict. Something has to go wrong. If nothing goes wrong, there's no story. That's just the way it is. So in your life, what is that challenge you faced? Because the way you overcame that challenge is the message that you're giving to your audience, right? So make sure that you identify what is that challenge that you want to speak about and bring that at a pivotal point in your story, right? So if you see my graph here, the conflict is escalating, it's going up. So you're facing that challenge, you're trying hard, it's not working. At one point in your story, there has to be a cure, right? How you fixed your issues is how the audience can fix their issues, right? And remember, similar, not superior. So it didn't just dawn upon you. You didn't fix it yourself. Maybe you read a book. Maybe you came across somebody who guided you, a mentor of some sort. Could be your parents, your relatives, your brother, anybody. But maybe you read it in a book, something happened. That was there, the cure was found. And after the cure is the change. What did you do, change in your life after this, which helped you succeed, right? Which brought you to where you are today to convey this message. How did it change your life? Because the way it changed your life is the way it will change my life or the audience's life. This is where your story becomes the audience's story, right? So remember these 5 C's: curiosity, characters, conflict, cure, and change. This can be applied to even a 3-sentence story or a 2-sentence, as short as you want. Still, few words for curiosity, 1 strong character. What was the challenge? How it changed? How the cure came? How it changed? Now remember, where the cure happens, that is the turning point of your speech, right? That's the big hero. So glorify it, describe it nicely, make that point strong for your audience so that they're on this journey with you. All right, let's move on. So we got our story all set, and with that story, we're going to convey our message. Now, Toastmasters defines the purpose of your speech in 4 ways. Either speeches are to entertain, like a humorous speech, for example, or a story which has adventures, etc. It's entertaining the audience. Sometimes you give informative speeches, like your research, your projects, or seminars that you attend. These are all intended to pass information on to your audience. You have persuasive speeches where you're convincing your audience to do something, like, for example, a sales pitch. Buy from me, from Hashim Haleem. Then you have inspire, which is your motivational speakers that you hear all along, who are urging you on to achieve some kind of higher purpose. Yeah. So these are the 4 purposes that a speech has. What I want to implore on you for your international speech is that in the 7 minutes, you're going to do all 4 of these, not 1 of these or 2 of these, all 4 of these. But if you apply those at the right positions, then you're going to be easily able to connect with your audience. For example, the purpose of the opening of your speech is to get the audience in, nothing else, nothing more, nothing less. It is to get your audience attracted to your speech. You want to be a tad bit entertaining at that point of time because you want them to like you. You want them to settle into your speech. You want them to decide that the next 7 minutes I'm going to spend with this person over here. Yeah. So the beginning has to be a tad bit entertaining, and it's got to inform them of what's coming up next, your story. It's got to lead into your story. So at the beginning, when you plan your opening, you want to think of entertainment and inform. Now we get into the meat, which is the body of your speech. Now the body of the speech has to have enough information to tell your story, right? And it's got to be entertaining because it's quite long and you don't want to lose touch with your audience. So you have that storytelling going on. You'll have some tad bits of humor here and there to keep the audience interested. And it's going to end with a persuasion towards your call to action. What is it that you want your audience to do? I want you to do this. This is what I learned. This is what I want you to do. When it comes to your conclusion, the end part of your speech, you have your persuasion, your call to action, your actions for the audience to do, and the inspiration part of it, which is your message, comes bang on in an inspiring mode, giving message to your audience on what they can do better and how that can help them. So if you use these speech purposes at appropriate times in your speech, you get the max impact. Yeah. All right. When I asked what's beautiful about the biryani and the cake, there were a lot of people who talked about the taste, the toppings. This is the toppings of your speech. How do you decorate your speech? Yeah. Foundation phrase. I have a quick question for you on the foundation phrase. So anybody can tell me, do you remember that speech, I have a dream? Yeah. Martin Luther King Jr. Everybody remembers that? Yeah. Yeah. Does anyone know the third sentence or the fourth sentence or the seventh sentence of that speech? No? Seriously? Okay, fine. I'm going to tell you about, one of my movies that I used to love when I was a kid. It's called, I don't know if you all watch Indian Hindi movies, maybe. It's called Mr. India. How many of you have actually seen that movie, Mr. India? Just, yeah, you can raise your virtual hands as well. Yeah, you've all seen that? All right. So I have a prize for everybody. Okay, a prize. Definitely. BMW X6. If you get this right. What is the name of the hero? Not Mr. India, the actual name of Anil Kapoor, who's the hero of the movie. What was his name? Someone says Avinash. Okay, any other? Sridevi, yeah. Sridevi, DS says Avinash. Anybody else? I don't know. Arun, Diya saying Arun, Harris is saying Arun. Yeah. For participating, the 5 of you are going to get that BMW X6. It will arrive by email tomorrow. It's a good JPEG format with high resolution. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. The fact is, if I asked instead of the hero, what's the name of the villain? Everyone would have said Mogambo. Yeah, everyone would have said Mogambo, all over the place, Mogambo. Why? Why do we remember the villain and not the hero? I mean, that's really bad of us, right? It's because of that one dialogue, Mogambo Khush Hua, which became like a cult classic, and we remember it even after all these years, even though we don't know or remember much about the movie. We still remember that sentence, Mogambo Khush Hua. That's the power that that phrase had, that you remember that despite all these years and all the things that have happened in between. So is there something in your speech that could be catchy? Just like I Have a Dream by Martin Luther King Jr. We don't remember the rest of his speech. We remember that phrase. So can your speech be summarized in a phrase like that? Dhananjay Hetirachi had, I see something in you. Yeah, we all remember that. When I started my Toastmasters journey, that was the first speech I heard. I absolutely loved that speech. Yeah. But I see something in you. It's just stuck in your head. And the way he says it, I see something in you, but I don't know what it is. Can your speech be summarized in a sentence like that? Is there something catchy that you can bring in? Because foundation phrase sticks. What do you need to craft a foundation phrase? Few things. It's got to be short, of course. It can't be too long. It's got to have a, right? Something catchy about it. It's like ads. You have those jingles that stick in your people's head. Just do it. Yeah. Finger licking good. I'm loving it. So it's got to be catchy. It's got to be rhythmic. That's what's going to make it memorable. All right. So since the yellow light is up, let's go back to my content before I get carried away. All right. So here we are. Foundation phrase. Second one is writing for the year. Now, the difference between a speech, article, or a magazine is that when you read something, you get to read it again and again until you get it. But if it's a speech, you get one shot, right? Either your audience gets it or they don't. But if you want to make sure that they're with you, try to write for the year. You have alliterations, right? Which have that rhythmic sound to it with the same letter, the same sound being repeated. These are good things to keep the audience's attention. Descriptive language, nice words. These are good for, this is what it means to write for the year. But let me give you an example. Say all you wanted to tell the audience was, I was driving through Sheikh Zayed Road, I got a flat tire. Yeah, this is the sentence you want to say. So you can say, I was driving through Sheikh Zayed Road and I got a flat tire. That's one way of saying it. Another way of saying it is, I was driving through Sheikh Zayed Road, bang, I got a flat tire. Which do you think will get noticed? Yep, the second one. Because of that addition of a sound word. Now, don't put a sound word in every sentence because then you're going to disconnect from your audience. But used appropriately, it's a simple trick to get your audience back to your side. We always talk about vocal variety. Dialogues are an easy way to bring that vocal variety into your speech. When you have strong characters like we spoke about at the beginning, instead of making it a narration, which is one way, make it a dialogue, right? So instead of saying, my dad told me this, position your hand and said, my dad said, son, no. That makes that scene more visible. That makes that scene more vivid to your audience. So instead of narration, try to use dialogues. Put in words that help you express, that help you emote. Put pauses right after those poignant statements. Props add value to your speech, but when used appropriately, right? Use it to convey or create a scene. Don't wear a red shirt and point and say, this is red. Everybody knows what red is, right? But use props appropriately to create your scene. What is the secret to decorating your speech to create impact? Audience involvement. Whether it's 7 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, make sure you're touching base with your audience. Simple things, ask rhetoric questions. You don't need an answer, but you want them to get their attention back to you and you want them to think for a second, right? So put in rhetoric questions in between, at least twice in your speech or thrice in your speech, depending upon how your speech is going. Make sure you're touching base with your audience. Audience involvement is the key decorator for your speech. Now, two important, the opening and the closing. Open sesame. The purpose of the opening is to create impact. Maybe not as much impact as this gentleman over here, who's got his clothes on in the wrong order. This is actually an opening from the International World Championship speech finals. Yeah, Darren Tay with his speech express. Oh, I forgot what the name of his speech. But definitely it was an impactful opening. Now, yours does not have to be as dramatic as this, but the purpose of the opening is to grab the audience's attention. So maybe ask a question. Maybe you have a quote. Maybe you have a short story or a joke or something that shocks the audience. Yeah. Now, the opening has obviously to lead in to the rest of your speech. So it should set the theme for what's going to come up next. Bring them on in. And remember, the opening has to connect with the closing, right? Brings your speech full circle, brings the experience a full circle. Got to connect. Secret. to having a successful opening is game time is the first 30 seconds. If you win the first 30 seconds of your speech, the audience is with you for the rest. See, the beginning of your speech, first 30 seconds, is when the audience is deciding whether it's worth spending 7 minutes listening to you. Or check out some new posts on, new stories or new reels on Instagram, or, talk to one of those members who just walked in, 100 other things. Maybe the shopping list that they just received that they need to buy and forgot to do. Yeah. So you want to capitalize on the first 30 seconds. My suggestion to you is write your story, your message, the body of your speech, write your conclusion. After that, come and write your opening. Take time with it, make it special, make it impactful, write it last, right? So once you have a good idea of what your story is, you found out your foundation phrase, your punches, everything, and your conclusion, write an opening that connects with that at the end. This is what I like to do, and I offer it to you to try it out. I'm sure it'll help you. All right, let's move on to the last bit, which is closing the deal, right? You know that you have to tie the opening and the closing. Your strong sentence, your power phrase, your tagline needs to be there as well, right? Use it appropriately after your stories, maybe when your call to action is, and right at the end. Maybe doesn't have to be the last sentence, maybe the sentence before the last sentence, but in your closing, your power statement has to be there. Where do you close your speech? Right, just like the gentleman is showing you there, up front, close to the audience, where the distance between your audience and you is the minimum, right? This is where you're giving them something. Up close in the center of the stage, hands spread out, welcoming gesture, yeah, bonding with your audience. The secret to close your speech with a maximum impact. It was your story, it was your message, but it was always about the audience. So your closing sentence should be you or we based statement. If you remember the speech, I see something in you. Throughout the speech, different people are telling him, I see something in you, I see something in you. In the end, he tells the audience, when I look at you, I see something in you. Yeah. So turn it to the audience. So your last statement should be either a you or a we statement. All right. So let's quickly recap. Messages that matter. That's what the audience leaves with. You want to make them fat, feel, act, and think. The 5C storytelling model. Anyone remembers what the 5 C's are? You can unmute and shout it out if you remember. What were the 5 C's?
Curiosity.
Curiosity,
Curiosity,
curiosity, character,
character,
Conflict,
curiosity,
cure,
character, conflict, cure, and
challenge.
change.
change.
Absolutely, absolutely. Spot on, spot on. All right. At appropriate times in your speech, use the different speech purposes. You've got to be entertaining at times. You've got to be persuasive. You've got to inform the audience of your stories and things coming up. And you want to end in an inspiring mode. Decorate your speech with your foundation phrase, with your sound words, with your descriptive language, pauses at the right places. Involve the audience appropriately, at least twice or thrice in your speech. Opening, bring the audience in, create that impact. 30 seconds is your game time. First 30 seconds. Close the deal. In the end, up close with the audience, you or we statements. If you put all of this together, that trophy in the middle could be yours. Nevertheless, you'll have a speech that you're proud of. And that speech is going to be the stepping stone to multiple speeches coming forward. Remember one thing about your international speech. Today, it's just a speech. When you refine it, when you make it elegant, more better, more presentable, one day it could be your keynote speech. Yeah. One day you could be in front of a large audience telling your story and everyone getting inspired from your story. So if you are telling your story, give a story that people will love to listen to. And I hope these tips will help you get there. All right. So that concludes my session and we can quickly go into Q&A. I know I overshot my time, but we'll shorten the Q&A hopefully. So I will hand it back to our AD to probably moderate the Q&A.
Thank you so much, DTM Hashim Haleem. So yes, the floor is open for those who have any questions related to the international speech contest or the judging criteria or anything at all. Please feel free to raise your hands or raise your question in the chat box. Okay, so the first question is from Toastmaster Kavita. She's asking, is there a way to know if the audience is engaged with our speech?
Of course. See, the audience is an important thing about speeches is that you don't want to stand on stage and, try and remember your speech because you have better things to do there. You want to express and you want to keep focused on the audience. If you see your audience looking down, yawning, it's a clear sign that you need to pop in maybe a question to get back or hit a joke over there to get your audience engaged. So always keep, get a gist of the energy in the room. Pay attention to your audience, see what's happening in and around. And as you see the energy drop, either through, people's eyes not being focused on you or looking around here and there or looking down or yawning, etc., whatever it may be, once you read that, pop in maybe a question to the audience or a joke or something startling to get the attention back onto you. That's it. You don't need much more than that. Just get the attention back onto you and then back your content to move forward from there. But keep observing what's happening around you, which is why you need to have enough practice so that you're not on stage trying to remember your speech. You have other things to make the speech more engaging at that point of time. I hope that answers your question, Kavita.
Great. Next,
yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Toastmaster Manoharan, could you unmute yourself and ask your question?
Yeah, good evening all. Thank you so much, Area 9, for conducting this wonderful education session. And thank you so much for a wonderful session for this DTM Hashim. My question is direct. Is there anything that we need to be mindful when we prepare at the club level, area level, and district level in terms of culture? When we prepare, should we be mindful about that in order to grab the attention of the audience? Yes, at the end, yes, the judges are the one who marks and they share their views, and they are the one. But is there something the contestants should be mindful about it? Thank you so much.
Absolutely, Manoharan. I think that's a very smart question that you've asked. In terms of the contest, it's important to understand that what works at your club need not necessarily work outside your club, right? Your club could be a community-based group, or it could be a company, whatever it may be, right? So you want to fine-tune your speech for each level. That is a definite. But when you pick your topic itself, always pick a topic that you think you could be able to carry all the way up to the district. It should be available. My first point when I talked about a message was that it should be universal. It should not be restricted to a certain specific group of people or one specific person. It should be something that is universal that you can connect. Now, so remember one thing, maybe in your club, everybody is from a certain community or a certain area or a certain group. But once you go outside, or if they invite judges to your club to judge your contest, not necessarily they're from the same community. So if you don't explain what you're talking about, there could be a possibility that they will not get it, right? So either you pick content that is universal in nature, or if you're picking something specific, make sure there's enough information in there for them to follow it. When it comes to any kind of audience interaction, be it international, humorous, make sure your content does not offend anybody at any point of time. There's nothing you're going to get out of it. You're going to alienate some part of your audience. So especially if you're going to start hitting jokes, make sure they're not focused on a certain group or community or race or gender or anything of that sort that will offend people, right? So try to keep your content – universal and common in such a way that it's acceptable to as many people as possible. at each level, you do have to work on your speech to sort of improve it, because the competition is also going up, and perhaps the judging levels will also go up as you progress. So you want to keep working on your speech at each level. Hope that answers your question, Anamol.
Thank you so much, DTM Hashim.
So the next question is, I see our PQD raise his hand. Yeah, PQD, we are so privileged to have your presence over here, DTM Sujil. Yes, please.
Good evening, AD, and good evening, everyone in here. Okay, just a few pointers in here. I thought of adding whatever DTM Hashim was saying about. See, not only the crowd, we should not alienate the judges. You don't know who are the judges. They might be from a particular community. So even if you alienate your audience, more importantly, you have the judges there. So be careful on that lines. So it's a big no-no. And the other thing being, whatever, I definitely agree with the master. So another point being, when we talk about the levels, the club is different. When we are talking about the international levels, whenever we are selecting a topic, it should be universally acceptable. Whatever we talk about in the club level is something very, very minimalistic. When you step it up, when you're taking it to the district level, because ultimately you are, whoever is competing, that is your requirement. You need to progress. So what you need to think about is, yes, the level of judging will be totally different. You might get away whatever small things, small errors at the club level, but when you step it up, things are going to be different. So when you are writing the speech, you ensure that keep all these things in mind. And also, if you want to take it to the next level, your mentoring also you need to step up the mentoring as well. Go to a person who has walked the path, who had been a district champion or somewhere in those lines. He will be able to advise you correctly. If it is at the club level, maybe a club champion might be able to help you. But if you are targeting the WCPS, reach out to a person who has already walked the path, because he or she will be able to guide you a bit better. And there is no more harm in having multiple mentors. Multiple mentors, no problems. You select what is the best advice for you. And whatever the mentor says, you don't have to take it. That is what I think DTM Hashim will be totally agreeing to me, correct?
Absolutely. In the end, it's your
whatever
speech.
we feel comfortable, most comfortable, that is what we need to push for. I think we are truly blessed to hear from a master speaker, DTM Hashim. I think thank you. We yearn for more from you. Back to you, AD.
Thank you so much, PQD. Thank you so much for those insights. The next question, there are a few actually, DTM Hashim. When everyone follows a standard format, does being different be good or bad? Does being different good or bad?
Well, it depends on how you present the different part of it. It's just like a movie. Sometimes different movies work, whereas many movies flop as well. So it depends on how you present it. You don't have to follow any standard format that is there, but whatever you do, it's got to touch the basic points, touching the audience, have them feel that emotion, think about it, and have a call to action. These basics would be there, but you are free to present it in any format that you want, as long as you are able to establish that connection with your audience. If you are in terms of your content, like PQD, DTM Sujil had also mentioned, make sure it is acceptable universally, and then you're good to go. You can have a very different opening. Many people with different openings have one. We gave the example of Darren Tay, who had a very shocking opening. Long before that, there was a world champion of public speaking called Darren LaCroix. He actually fell on stage. Yeah, he just dived down on stage. And from the position below, he said, respected contest chair, and then stood up. Yeah. He actually asked a question to the audience from the lying down position. So there are people who have done many different things. Mohammad Ghaitani with his cigarette on stage. So you can experiment, but you got to fine tune it as you move along. Like PQD said, have a good mentor who can guide you, and definitely try something different.
So Toastmaster Hamid has one more question. Which is the best position, in brackets time, for call to action in your speech?
So the structure behind a call to action is, with your story and your message, you're building your credibility to tell your audience something. So after that, you give your call to action, it's likely to be accepted more. If you tell your call to action at the beginning, I'm like, why should I listen to this guy? Who is he to tell me anything? Yeah? What does he know? All these questions pop into the head of your audience. But you tell them your story, how you came out of it, and you establish, that you are credible to speak about this, then you put your call to action most appropriate. But don't leave too much gap after your call to action to your ending, because call to action is something for the audience, and you want your audience to leave with it as well. So I'd say call to action immediately, conclusion, 2 or 3 sentences would probably work really good.
Okay, thank you. The next question is from Toastmaster Madhumita. Any tips on how to include humor in your speech? Can it be learned or it's inherent?
I'm not somebody who believes in inherent. I think the only thing inherent is what you put in yourself. So everything can be learned. It is a process. So you've got to practice putting humor, using humor. I think the best or most appropriate humor for your speech is when you're able to uncover humor in your content, not force a joke into your content. From your situations, try to look at it in a light manner. There are many techniques that you can use to actually make a standard statement funny. A simple technique you can use is to compare it with something funny. So I was waiting so long for my examination, for them to call me for my interview, right? It's a normal sentence, nothing in it. How long were you waiting? I waited so long that my hair was turning gray, or I waited so long that, something happened. You get what I'm saying? So even standard sentences, you can infuse humor into, but don't force feed a joke just for the sake of it. Try to uncover humor in your content. I think that's the answer.
Thank you. We are already on red. We have 2 more questions. I hope it's okay. Any recommendations for physical readiness, including the best healthy practice and what to wear, or any speaker who participates in contests?
Absolutely. I think that's a very, very smart question, Nuruddin. Definitely, you want to be well rested for your contest day, because you've worked hard to build your speech and practice it in front of, maybe the camera or with your mentor. So you want to be physically ready. There are a few things that you should take care of. One is, to be well rested, of course. The other is to, before you start, go on stage. What I like to do is to sort of open up your voice, right? So you can do a few exercises to just stretch your lungs out, get your voice running. There are many videos that you can find on YouTube just for practicing your voice just before you go on stage. They help a lot. Get your energy flowing, get your energy centered. Many techniques you can use to build that energy up. If you don't like exercise, you can have a sip of Red Bull, whatever works for you, but get your energy going for itself. Nothing defeats practice, right? So you have to practice. When you are doing your speech at a club or at any level, or even as a practice, try to record yourself and see what you're doing, the feedback that you get. See how, do you think that is right or not? Your recording is a way to actually compare it. You may be thinking something in your mind, however, that may not be the way it looks on camera, right? So it's good to have the recording and observe what is going right, what can be improved in your opinion.
So there are several more. Yeah, sorry. You had not completed.
What to wear is entirely up to you. Wear something, that is a must. Wear something respectable, that is also a must. There's no rule which says that you need to wear a tie. However, dressing professionally it's about creating that impression in your audience, right? So if you dress professionally, like the point I had mentioned to Famib, it's about credibility for them to accept your point of view. So if you think dressing professionally works, well and good. I think there's somebody who's raised their hand for a while.
Yeah, one last question from Toastmaster Shashi. Toastmaster Shashi, can you unmute yourself? And yes, please.
Sure. Thank you, MS. Since I'm driving, I did not post my question on the chat. So my question is, say, for example, like I'm already prepared with my speech. I have already practiced my speech and everything. In the last moment, something flashed or some new ideas popped into my mind. Is it okay for me to change my script or to include some new content into that? Or should we go with the thing what we have already practiced and we are used to? So this is my question, Toastmaster Hashim.
And my answer, Toastmaster Shashi, is just ask your heart, what you think is right. See, the thing is, if you have a brilliant idea that you feel is going to work for your speech, if you don't put it, you're going to bring your energy down anyway. So if your heart tells you, yes, this needs to be there, this is the best thing I can do, go for it. However, it's what you have practiced that you will be able to deliver the best. So try to, fit it in that you get the best of both worlds. You've got one shot on stage, you want to do the best you can. I would suggest don't try too many changes unless you feel this is a game changer for me, then you go for it.
So go Dil Se.
They'll say.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I think with that, we'll wind up the Q&A round. We are a little late in the end, maybe if you're free and if the audience would still like to ask some questions, we will see if we have time. Now, I would like to invite on stage our very own Division C Director, Soumya Shetty. Toastmaster Soumya, please. The stage is yours.
Thank you, AD Khalijan. Can you see me?
Yes.
Thank you so much, DTM Hashim, for accepting the role and providing us with this insightful session on international speech. I'm sure Khalijan would be doing again the vote of thanks towards the end, but I feel grateful that you are here. And same goes to Area 9 team, Khalijan and his team. They have put in a lot of efforts. Prasanna, Yatish, all of them. And we feel as Division C, it is important to support the contestants given that contest season is here. So as much as how we can make their life easy, that is the aim. And with this in mind, we have the Masterclass series on. So today was the first in this series, which was international speech, rightly done by DTM Hashim. And then there would be one more, which is next one is evaluation. It will be on 17th. Then we have humorous, which is on 19th, and last one is on humorous, and last one is on table topics, the following. So more details would be coming up. So in this coming 5 days, this is what we have planned. Each of the areas is taking the lead, and they are doing it. ADs are doing it. Before I hand it over back to Khalijan, there's one thing which I wanted to mention because I also wanted to acknowledge the presence of, sorry, I'm doing it late, Dr. Abdul Sattar, our district CG. Not sure if he's there. All the ADs, all the dignitaries who have been here waiting patiently, listening, contributing to this session. So one request to all who are here is we will be having these masterclass series, keeping purely in mind that we want to help and support the contestants. However, if you feel there is something additional to be arranged, something innovative, something which is not addressed, because masterclass is something which we do traditionally, but if you have something innovative, creative, which will help you in a contest, please reach out to us and we'll definitely look at arranging it for you. We are planning it. It will come after the master series, but I thought it's the right platform to raise it again. Thank you so much. And with this, I'll give it back to Khalijan. And I was so happy with so many questions raising to you, DTM Hashim. That shows the quality of the training. Usually, whenever training happens, there are no questions asked. wherein people are, it has nothing to do with the trainer or the audience. It is just that comfort which you give to the audience, and they are asking it, so which is a good sign. With this, back to you. Thank you so much, and thank you, Collegian, for arranging this.
Thank you so much, Division C Director, Toastmaster Soumya Shetty. Thank you so much. And yes, with that, I would like to once again thank DTM Hashim Haleem for the session. Wow. We would like to extend our deepest appreciation for your contribution today. It's a master class on international speech contest. Definitely your insights have elevated all of us, and it's been an invaluable session. Your enthusiasm is beyond enriching, and thank you so much. We've had so much positive feedback already by chat, and once again, thank you so much for your time, energy, and commitment for making this event a grand success. We definitely look forward to several world champions of public speaking from the audience and from those who are going to look into the recordings. The recordings will be shared in Area 9 Facebook page and Division C social media channels also. So thank you all. I would like to close the meeting. Before that, if anyone would like to give some feedback, or if I'm not sure if DTM Hashim has some more time, if anyone has anything, yes, please feel free to no more raise your hands. You can go ahead, unmute yourself and ask. I would like to close the session. I would like to thank you all. I would like to thank my area team once more. Toastmaster Yatish, Toastmaster Prasanna, Toastmaster Deepa, all the presidents, Toastmaster Pari, Toastmaster Srijesh, Toastmaster Anil, and Toastmaster Zainab. Thank you all. You all been the force behind our area and the division also. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the dignitaries who've joined us. Once again, thank you, DTM Hashim. And with that, I would like the audience to please go ahead and give your feedbacks or any questions. Feel free to ask. The floor is open. I close the meet. Thank you so much, everyone. Dr. Abdul Sattar, CGD.